This is a secured credit card. This is a credit builder loan. And this is also an authorized user account. And if you were to use all three of these tools, you could tie up hundreds of dollars at a time in deposits, payments, and fees just to rebuild your credit. However, these tools are also the absolute undisputed heavyweights in the top-tier credit repair category with countless rebuilding benefits. Yet there can only be one amongst all of them that is the absolute best. And that is what we're going to find out in today's video. Which of these is the number one credit repair move in 2026? Will it be the all-arounder secured card? Or the structured contender, the credit builder loan? Or does it fall to the old school favorite, the authorized user account? And we're going to compare all of the tools in the following sections: their speed, their score building power, their benefits, and their costs. And at the very end, we'll tally up the scores, and I will also give you my final verdict as well as recommendations. So, if that sounds like a plan, pop a squat, tap the thumb icon, and let's get into it. Section 1. Speed. For the secured credit card, the current speed is that you can start building positive payment history almost immediately after approval and first reporting. A quick note, a secured card is still a real credit card. It just requires a deposit. That deposit becomes your limit. Now, as for speed, this has kind of been the classic rebuild move for a pretty long time now. Other than getting approved fast, it still usually takes a few billing cycles before you really start seeing movement, which in this range isn't something I'm really writing home about, but it's not something I'm running away from. All right, let's look at the other tools. The Credit Builder Loan currently offers a speed profile where you're going to add a new installment account to your credit mix, but you usually need several on-time payments before it starts making a noticeable difference. This I really like. Any tool that starts reporting clean history consistently, especially in this category, I would certainly look to jump on. And as for the authorized user account, there's actually two versions currently out there. So, one is the publicly available version. Anyone can get it if they have a trusted family member or friend willing to add them. And it's just going to give you access to that account's age, limit, and payment history once it reports. However, there is a way more elevated version. Honestly, probably one of the strongest I've seen in real-life credit rebuilding. Going as high as getting added to a very old, very clean account with low utilization and perfect payment history. The only catch is with that move, you actually have to be able to find a legitimate person willing to add you, because it is personalized to the account holder. Thankfully, since you follow me, I actually do have a working rule for that down below. Again, I don't know how long these things stick around for. A good authorized user opportunity doesn't stick around forever. So, if you're considering it, feel free to check that situation out in your own circle. And a quick pro tip, folks, with the authorized user account. If you're considering jumping on this all-time strong rebuilding move, you should actually consider also opening your own secured card first. The reason being, if you only rely on an authorized user account, you are building borrowed history. And right now, while that can help, you still want your own primary account reporting too. You couldn't rely on just one if you want the strongest rebuild. However, if you get the secured card first and then add the authorized user account, you can also then build your own history while benefiting from theirs. I know it's a little bit wonky, but these are the rules, and I want you to consider this if you are rebuilding from scratch. So, wrapping up the speed section, coming in third is going to be the Credit Builder Loan. It is just like it's okay. Not really writing home about this. If I have to, I would, but maybe I might look elsewhere first. Now for second and first though, it's really close. I really like that with the secured credit card, it's guaranteed you are going to get your own fresh positive history, at least as long as you use it correctly. But I also love the fact that with an authorized user account, you can get way faster visible results if the account is old, clean, and low utilization, and you're not committed to staying on it forever if it stops helping. And so this will be a little bit of bias as me as the reviewer, but I am willing to take more shots to try to get that fast impact from a really good authorized user account, and so I give second to the secured credit card. And then I will give first to the authorized user account. Section 2. Score Building Power. For the secured credit card, you're going to build revolving credit history, establish on-time payments, and improve utilization if you keep the balance low. Honestly, kind of love that. Bit of a set it and forget it tool. I don't know where to put it. You know what? I'm going to give it a lot of love as a base catch, all rebuild tool. And to give you perspective, guys, having your own revolving account, even like on just a basic secured card, phenomenal. Now let's talk about the credit builder loan. You'll get installment history, credit mix improvement, and a clean payment record if you make every payment on time. Now as a rebuilding tool, I'd love this. We've got payment history. We've got account diversity covered. But then, what about other things the scoring model wants to see, like revolving credit management? Yeah, it doesn't really do that, which is kind of a bummer. But these categories are where people are probably weak when they're rebuilding, especially if they have a thin file. So maybe it kind of just balances out. And now let's talk about the authorized user account. You'll inherit the age of the account, the available limit, and potentially the payment history tied to that trade line. Honestly, yeah, nothing to sneeze at. This is powerful. I can't believe how much the right authorized user account can still do for a thin or damaged file. Now, let's talk about how we would rank this. Coming in third place for the score building power category, Credit Builder Loan by a clear bottom third. Coming in second is the authorized user account because this tool at the end of the day can be amazing, but it is still borrowed history. I just have to think about that. And taking the top spot for score building power is still going to be the secured credit card. Even though it requires a deposit, I love the fact that it is your own revolving account that you control without having to depend on somebody else. Section 3. Benefits. Here is really the kind of meat and potatoes of the entire video, where these tools separate out considerably. However, because they're all kind of top-tier credit repair tools, they also have a lot of similar benefits. So, what I'm going to do first is just talk about all the benefits that they all mostly have, so we don't have to repeat ourselves. So, here are some of the common benefits across the tools. 1. They all help establish positive payment behavior, which basically just means that you can use the tool to show the bureaus and lenders that you can handle credit more responsibly going forward. Now, the exact impact in which they have slightly varies, and some you could argue are maybe more valuable than others. But in general, they give you this flexibility, and this is really important if you want to get the most bang for buck from your rebuild effort. The other shared benefit that all of these tools have is they can help thicken a thin file. A thicker file honestly gets passed around as advice all the time, which means everyone talks about it. And so, it's really not that special by itself, especially if the accounts are not high quality. So, in the later section, we're going to go over some of the more unique benefits unique to each individual tool where you might be able to get more or less value from versus just adding any account. Which again, pretty much every rebuilding strategy tries to do. Another common benefit they all have is they can improve approval odds over time if used correctly. And the last one, obviously this is kind of a given. None of them work if you keep missing payments elsewhere. Alright, so those are kind of the big shared benefits that I want to call out. Now, let's go into the individual tool benefits for you to note. First up, we have the secured credit card. And the first set of benefits we'll talk about are the rebuilding benefits this tool offers. So, the tool offers you a revolving account that reports every single month. In addition, it also gives you a chance to build your own independent payment history every single month just for using the card lightly and paying it on time. The next set of benefits is going to be graduation potential. Again, this is in addition to the reporting benefit we talked about earlier. So, some secured cards actually graduate into unsecured cards around the country after a stretch of good behavior. And currently, there are several issuers that do this. In addition, they have this really unique thing where some of them will review your account automatically and return your deposit if you qualify. And so, it's a bit more of I'd see it as a curated rebuild experience, where you actually go from damaged or no credit into a mainstream card relationship. And as a secured cardholder, you have access to this path. In the remaining benefits, I group into kind of the other/credit category. So, it gives you utilization control. You also get the ability to learn statement dates, payment timing, and how reported balances affect your score. Honestly, I love this as a feature. I used to sleep on this because people think a card is just a card. But now that I understand scoring more, it's amazing to either keep that reported balance very low or pay before the statement date and really manage the optics of the file. Overall, when it comes to benefits from the secured credit card, it doesn't have the laundry list that the other two tools are going to have. We'll talk about in a bit. But also, I guess it is simplistic, right? It kind of goes with the, hey, it's just a rebuilding card, and we're not just throwing every little thing we can at you to see if we can get it to stick. So, I guess there's two sides to it, not having a lot. One is it's simple, but then the other I guess is like, maybe there could be a little bit more. Well, we'll go ahead and keep talking. Next up, we have the credit builder loan. Similar to the secured credit card, we're going to talk about the building benefits, its structure benefits, and its other/credit benefits. So, the benefits that the credit builder loan gives you, you'll receive an installment account that reports to the bureaus. You also build a savings habit because with many of these products, the money is held and then released to you after completion. On the surface, I love that. However, it can only be used well if you actually make every payment. And here's the list of where people mess this up. They open it, forget it, miss a payment, and now the rebuild tool becomes another problem. So, although it's called a credit builder loan, I would say it's more of a structured payment credit builder loan. Because the structure is the whole point. A lot of them also give you a fixed monthly amount. Absolutely love this. Predictability matters. Now let's talk about the other/credit benefits. This tool also gets you credit mix improvement. It will give you another account type on your report, which is kind of that mid-tier scoring liver. If I'm looking at what the credit builder loan is doing, it's a lot less exciting. It's almost too simple. It used to really just have the one appeal, and that was it. Now the problem I'm having is the benefits are kind of really dependent on whether you already have installment history elsewhere. So I don't know. It's a tough sell, I would say, for sure. Now, let's talk about the benefits of the authorized user account. Similarly, we're going to review its speed benefits, its profile benefits, and other/credit benefits. So, the first set of benefits that the authorized user account offers, a potentially older account age that can be used to strengthen a thin profile, a larger credit limit that can help lower aggregate utilization if the primary cardholder keeps balances low, and a long payment history that can make your report look a whole lot stronger than it did before. Now, let's talk about profile benefits. This tool crushes it with fast optics. So, with the authorized user account, you'll get access to somebody else's established history. I would argue if you can get onto a truly clean, old low utilization account, some of the best short-term profile improvements hands down. You'll also get the possibility of seeing score movement without opening a brand new primary account yourself. In addition, it gives thin files a stronger look. And last but not least, it can help younger or rebuilding consumers look less risky on paper. Now let's talk about the other/more credit benefits. So automatically with a good authorized user account, you can improve age, available credit, and overall depth. You also get help without having to manage another monthly payment directly, which is kind of that convenience category. The big caveat, though, is you do not control the account. If the primary user runs up balances or misses payments, that actually qualifies you for sweet damage off rip. And the last one to call out, this tool offers you speed, but not sovereignty. Basically, it means if you benefit from the account and within months the primary user changes behavior or removes you, you can lose the impact just as quickly. When I look at the benefits from the authorized user account years ago, it was this kind of magical shortcut, and I was like, oh man, this is kind of insane. Today, with scoring models being smarter and lenders caring more about your own accounts too, this is still a very valuable proposition. For example, that age benefit. It's just one account, which, kind of annoying, you have to rely on. But as long as the account is truly clean, it can absolutely help. And so even though the authorized user account is still a strong move and a ton more people can get value from it, in my honest opinion, I think you could probably extract more lasting value from building your own history. Now there are still some things that are annoying, like I'm not doing shady pay trade line stuff. The risk takes a lot of work to really be able to justify. Again, it would be nice if it was just your own account. But overall, as we're looking at a top-tier credit repair tool, the authorized user account, when it comes to fast profile improvement, is an undisputed king. So, as it comes to ranking these tools based on their benefits, coming in at third place, this one might be a shocker. I'd actually put the Credit Builder loan there. Even though it has structure, it is kind of narrow in what it does. The thing is, and you have to understand context, Credit Builder loans did not use to compete as directly with secured cards. The secured card was to this broader rebuilding audience. So the loan was really more of a side piece. What the loan wants to do is step up here. But the thing is, I really don't think the broad usefulness is there. And by throwing in structure, again, I'm going back to even just the payment benefit. Okay, clean installment history. I like that. I love that. But it only qualifies as useful if you actually need installment history and can stick with it. Again, you're telling me the obvious, which is you want to give structure. But you don't actually want me to forget that it can still hurt me if I misuse it. It's almost too obvious. Couldn't it be a little more flexible? Maybe. But it is what it is. So absolute third by a long shot in terms of flexibility and what it's trying to do. Coming in at second, I'm going to give it to the secured credit card. Even though it's not bells and whistles, it's simple. You get it. Low balance, on-time payment, your own account, easy enough to understand. It's just a really simple thing. Don't have to overthink it. And coming in at number 1, of course, is going to be the authorized user account, which honestly was a shocker to me the first time I really looked at it, because this move for the longest time was like the poster child of what we call a shortcut. History, age, limit can really value them, can really use them so fast. But this time around, it still remains a tool that actually is very valuable, and a lot more people can get real benefit from it if it's done the right way. What makes it really shine, though, is also going to be that speed. Section 4. Cost, secured credit card. It has a current cost of usually a refundable deposit. But remember though, effectively there's that deposit that often comes back to you if you graduate or close the card in good standing. So, you have money tied up. You don't necessarily lose the money. In effect, you're paying with cash flow more than permanent cost, which is just so insane to me at this level. You go back 4 years, still one of the best ways to get in. Absolutely no one should be scared of it if they can manage it. And the fact that you can get that deposit back, love that all day. Next, the Credit Builder loan has a varying cost depending on the lender. However, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. It does have some pretty solid value if you need the structure. So there's the monthly payment, sometimes interest, sometimes admin fees, and sometimes a chunk of money you get back at the end. Basically, it's a tool you pay to use. If I add up all of the friction that most people can feel, it is not free. So you pay for something and it gives you back some structure. Not bad, actually. You're basically paying for discipline in a box. Of course, if you take advantage of the savings element and the credit mix improvement, you could come out net positive. But again, I'm trying to talk to as broad of an audience as possible who can take advantage of the most kind of generic common benefits. It's going to be paying effectively real money for the Credit Builder loan. Now, for the authorized user account, this tool has a varying cost of anywhere from free with family all the way to risky and expensive if you go hunting for paid trade lines. And as for useful value that most people can use to offset that, we have the fact that if a parent, spouse, or trusted relative adds you for free in effect. Most people are going to get a lot of benefit at little to no direct cost. So, you pay 0 or close to 0, you get profile help back, you are basically positive into your pocket. However, with the authorized user account, it speaks to a certain situation that is probably a little bit more geared towards people who have access to a trustworthy relationship. And so, it wouldn't be crazy to think maybe not everyone can do that. But if you can take advantage of the free version, this tool is definitely way easier to overshoot on value. So, how would I rank it? Coming in at third for cost is going to be the Credit Builder loan. You effectively still have to pay for the tool, most people. Coming in at second, I'm going to give that to the secured credit card because the deposit is not really lost, but your cash is locked. You really can't ignore that. And so, that means at number 1 for cost, we're going to give it to the authorized user account. Even though best case for most people is effectively paying nothing for the tool. You have so much potential to benefit if the account is legitimately strong. I mean, personally, if I had access to a clean family trade line, I would absolutely consider it as part of a rebuild. It's kind of insane. And I don't really want to say it because maybe people hear that and run to shady paid trade line sites. No, I do not think that is going to be the move for a very long time. I think at some point people realize, hey, if I can't do this with someone I trust, I need to build my own file. Until that time, take advantage of the legitimate version of this. So, now let's go ahead and look at our final verdict as well as recommendations. The point scoring system we'll use is for every first place is 3 points, second place 2 points, and third place is only 1 point. With all of that tallied up, we have a decided winner here for 2026, as the number one credit repair move with 10 points is going to be, to no one's surprise, although maybe to some people's surprise, actually, maybe a little bit to my surprise before really mapping this out. Anyway, the winner is the authorized user account. Woo! Now the thing is, the authorized user account has always kind of been this top contender credit repair move, and over the years it's kind of gone downhill for some people. More caution, more lender awareness, more caution, more need for your own accounts. And what's really coming up really hard has been the secured card, and then the credit builder loan has kind of just held its own. But the reality is, the right authorized user account still absolutely puts this tool back in place for number one. The amount of value this move is giving out right now today, like I said earlier in the cost section, is absolutely unmatched if it is legitimate and clean. Is it free? Are they just going to actually pay you money for it? No, guys, they are not going to actually pay you money for it. But in this game that we enjoy, in this rebuild that we care about, or in life, if you want something and something gives you outsized value, you need to work for it. You do need to do some things for it. Some tools make doing the thing easier than others. The authorized user account, as we can see today, makes it honestly that much easier to get that much more outsized short-term value versus the other tools. Therefore, it is the number one credit repair move of 2026 when compared to the secured credit card as well as the credit builder loan. Now coming in at second, we actually have a two-way tie between the secured card and the credit builder loan. And here's how I would think about this. These tools are close, and they're tying for second. But the secured card, I would say, is an all-arounder tool. If you were a simple person, you're kind of like, you know what, I know I need to rebuild. I want some positive history. I want some utilization control. But I really don't want to play this game. I don't want to overcomplicate it. The secured card is your friend. It is simple. It is literally KISS. Keep it simple, you know the last word. Whereas the credit builder loan, you're going to have to do a little more work. Like not crazy work, but work that I don't even want to do unless I specifically need installment history. And so even though in the points it's tied, I would personally give the edge to the secured card. This is a lot easier a recommendation for me to someone who's kind of like, yeah, I don't know, maybe this, maybe that. Secured card. No harm, no foul. I know you're not likely to lose money on it if you use it correctly. Whereas the credit builder loan, if I just recommended someone to it and they didn't understand that, okay, if I miss a payment, this rebuild tool becomes another negative. It's an absolute nightmare. Actually, absolute nightmare. And so, I would actually rank that as a third. Honestly, if I could, I'd give it a distant third, but I can't because the points say it's tied for second. And so, the credit builder loan, though, is a third for me. I don't know, this is the end of the video, so I can just maybe rant a little bit. I'm just being real about it. I remember when people first started talking about credit builder loans like they were the answer to everything. Absolutely loved the idea. I told people, okay, yes, structure matters. Maybe this is the go-getter. So simple, so easy. Make payments, get history. Oh my God, it's incredible. Then secured cards stayed on the scene. Hey, we're going to just give you your own revolving history and maybe your deposit back. Wholly interesting. Yep, that one. And so guess what? My opinion changed because times change, products change. We're on to the secured card for most people. And now we're on this third phase where the authorized user account, people forgot how powerful a truly good one can be, has come back roaring, taking back the number one crown from both of them. And yeah, I just think the only reason I'm a little cautious about it is because my heart still says build your own file too. You honestly would be better off looking at an authorized user account plus a secured card. Cool, folks, and if you are looking for the strongest rebuild setup, remember the pro tip. If you haven't started your own primary account before, get the secured card first and then add the authorized user account so you can have two forms of positive momentum versus just jumping straight to borrowed history and then not being able to show enough of your own. Comments, questions down there as well. This has been an incredible video. Let me know. Do you think differently? Are you more team secured card or authorized user or credit builder loan? Let me know in the comments section there, and I will catch you on the next one.